Hi, I'm Dave, your farmer from Wrong Direction Farm. Today I'm working on bracing some fences. I'm building some electric fence out in the back field. This is the farthest part back from the house, and it's the last area of the farm to be fenced. We still have quite a bit of fencing that needs to be put up here. Until now, we've been using temporary fences every time the cattle come back here, but we're trying to add, every year we add a little more fence to the farm, and we're getting toward the back now, so we're getting close to being done. One thing to be aware of is when you are fencing with any of these high tensile wires, you need to have considerable tension on the wire in order to keep it from sagging between each post. We put each post about 75 feet apart. And so unless the wire is tensioned, you can have the wire sagging down. When you tension it, it tends to pull on the end post. So this is my end post. It's also being used as a support for a water hydrant. But when we pull on the post, especially as the season changes and you get frost heaves, this post will start to creep backwards and eventually can even be pulled out of the ground. So what we want to do is to brace it so it resists that pull. I'm using something called a floating brace. This is what I really like. I've talked to a bunch of other farmers who have used a more traditional approach of H-brace, and I've gotten some of them to try this, and everybody I know of who's tried it hasn't gone back to the H-braces. I think it's a superior method. It only requires one post to be driven into the ground, not a second one over here. What I do is I place a block on the ground. In this case, I usually can find some flat rocks, so I place this on the ground, and then I drill a hole in the post, put a peg in the end, and I can just slide it right in on that peg. Now it's pegged in there, and I'm going to place some high tensile wire right along the ground. I'm going to wrap it all around the base, and then I'm going to tension it with this tensioner. This is cogged, so it only ratchets in one direction, and it allows me to put the wire in this and to tension up the wire. And I just go till it's good and tight. Not sure the exact torque specs on that, but good and tight seems to work. And that pushes at this end up into about the middle of the post, and the ground resists at the bottom. The post is resisted by this brace in the middle, so that provides all the bracing that we need to tension this fence. As we're fencing this pasture for cattle, we're going to be just using a single strand of high tensile wire. This is an interior subdivision fence, and I prefer to use as few wires as possible. It costs money to string out every wire, but also I find that if I have a lot of wires close to the ground, the cattle don't do a very good job of eating right underneath the wire, and then I get trees and brush growing up right under the fence. So instead of having to mow that, I just let the cattle graze it out. So a higher wire, I usually go about 30 inches high. The way I know is I've always got a mark on my pants where my pocket knife wears a hole in the pocket, and so that's the spot where I string the wire. Deer can jump over the fence, but the cattle stay in.